Good morning, ladies. Happy birthday to us, happy birthday to us, happy 10th birthday, happy birthday to us. It's 10 years since the class started. Going by dates, it was yesterday, the 9th of November, but so we're celebrating our birthday today. And I hope everybody's gotten their die. It's a rather large corner die, but I'm going to show you a couple of ways to use it today. Before I start, Iris is going to kill me for this. I just wanted to let you see this card that Iris made for me. Absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much for that. Proud, very proud. Thank you. Right. We're going to start with this one today. This is actually the card we're going to make. I've done it slightly different on my demonstration. Not the way I've made it, but what I've used. This is very plain. I've used burgundy for the background. I've cut the die out and then put it back in. So you actually see the outline of the die, but you see the backing paper through it. And I've just used glitter drops and a Merry Christmas. So I have made it a Christmas one. I didn't know whether I was going to do Christmas or not, but I did Christmas. Right, so what you need is a 7x7 card. Now, you can make it with, if you've got A3 card, score it in half, blah, blah. Make it that way. That's what I did with this one. Or you can make it with A4 and piece it together. So you score it at 7, cut it at 7, and then you cut your piece and join it. Or if you've got large card blanks, even if you've got the scalloped ones, cut it down so that you've got a 7x7, so you can cut the scallops off of it. So it's up to you what way you want to do it. For your backing, you will need a piece of, I've used tartan card, so that is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then a blank piece 6 1/2 by 6 1/2, and I've used another piece of tartan, and that is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, and a blank piece 6 by 6, and that makes up your card. Now, these two, your first two bits, your biggest two bits, go on flat on your card. So I've actually made my card up. Okay. And what I've done is I've cut my die out into the card, and I've left it about a quarter of an inch away from the edge. And I've put I can't remember what that's called. See, the brain just does not work. You know what I mean. Greaseproof paper behind my die, because it's such a big die, and it is can be quite hard to take out. And I'm just going to tape that on. So it's about a quarter of an inch from the edge. And I'm going to cut that. And then very gently try and take your cut out of the die. Take that out of the way just now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it twice. So I've turned it round. just to make sure all the bits are cut. And if you take my piece of tape off first, very gently. And just very, very gently take the die out of the card. There we go. And that gets glued on to that piece there. And that gets glued on flat. Okay. Now what I did with it was, I'll let you see, so that you don't use too much glue, just keep the nozzle of your glue on your card at all time, and that way you're not using too much glue. And you want to glue all the pieces right round the edge where you've cut the dies out. Just make sure you don't put too much on that's going to leak through, but just enough to make sure it's glued. Okay, and that gets laid on flat onto that piece. And just okay, and then that will that will get put onto foam pads in a minute, but then you just put glue on the back of your die and just lay it back in and make sure it's all glued down. Okay, and that's it there. And that's all glued down. And as I said, that goes on foam tape. And on the front of your card. Now make sure you get it the right way. And there you go, and that's the front of your card. Very simple. That bit of tape's been on my arm more than it's been anywhere else today. Now, I used a Merry Christmas die, and it's together, so it looks like this. But I didn't want that right in the centre of my card. So what I've done is I've got a piece of my scrap card that was left, and I've cut it out. So I've just laid it on, cut out my Merry, and then laid it on and cut out my Christmas. And then you just cut it down and I want that nice tail there. And there you go, that's your Merry. And then your Christmas. This is just to let you see that you can use dies that are like this together, but if you like the font on them or the size of them, you can use them individually as well. And there you go. So that's my Merry and my Christmas, and I've also cut it out in the plain as well, and I'm going to put those together. And I'm going to have the tartan on the top. So just glue on my hand. Make sure you've got all your bits poked out, and I didn't. Still didn't. Duh. And just put glue on it. And I want this slightly off. So I'm going to see the colour behind. I actually find it easier to put it straight on top, but I just want it slightly off, this one. And there we go. And just make sure there's glue on that. And then that's going to go on my card. And just do the same with the Christmas. Now I'm rushing through this because I've got something else I want you to see. How to do something else with this die. And it's going to complement this card. There we go. And that's my Christmas. And then I'm just going to use, and you could put a wee poinsettia or some kind of decoration on it. I've got purple. I'm going to go nice with that. How is it? Yeah, I'm just going to use the purple. It's glitter drops. And I'm just putting them on the end of my fancy bits. Right, there we go. finish it off in the corners. And there we go. And that's that one finished. Quite a simple card, but very effective. And that's using your corner. Right, I'll set that out of the way just now. Now, coming back to my original card, I've made a stand for it. And I've done it both sides, so you can use it for another card as well. So if I have a gold card, I can use it for my gold card. And I've got my burgundy one. And you just set it. Make it a bit closer. And there you go. And that sits up. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So I took an A4 sheet, and I scored it in half. A5 half fold. Okay. Then I put my die on, and I've kept it in a couple of millimetres from the edge, and I've taken a pencil and went all the way around my die. You see? Now, I should have taken this out of here. I should have another pink one someplace. I should have another line cut. I do. Here it is here. Right. Now, to get it to stand, if I left this bit on, there would be nothing for it to lie back on. So I want to take this bit off. So once I've cut it, I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut off what I think I need to cut off. So I've cut off all that bit. There it is. There's where I've cut it, okay? And then I put that back on my die, make sure there's a border all the way around. So where you see this bit here, I want to come down and there you go. So I'm going to cut all that off. With bigger scissors. So try and cut right on the pencil line, and that's going to take that off. And don't worry if your cutting isn't that brilliant, because I'll show you what to do to make it look a bit neater. Now, when you cut it out, when you cut your what's the word I'm looking for, your shape out, your corner out, you have to cut one going one way and one going another way. Luckily, I've used double-sided card this time because you need one that's going to face that way and you need one that's going to face that way. So one's going to be back to front. Okay, and the same, I've cut it out in the tartan as well, and I've cut one going one way and one going the other way, and that'll go on there to make your double-sided stand. Now, take a big ball tool, and I've actually got that on my cutting board, but I've got the edge of it right at the edge of the where I've cut, and that just neatens it up. And you do that on both sides, and that just neatens it up. And flattens it out. And that's what it should look like when you've got it done. Lovely and neat at the edges. And as I say, put your glue them on. Remember, one goes one way and one goes the other way. And because it's a stand, I mean, you don't really see that one's cut out back to front. Okay. And that's how to do that. Now, I've got another sample to show you. And this time, this is actually the waist. So what I've done with that is I've made an 8.5 by 6.5 card, and I've cut a frame. And I mean, you can use what you have. If you don't have such a big dies as I've got, then you use what you have. And I inked the backing of my big piece, and I've left that 1/4 of an inch bigger than the frame. The piece that I cut out of my frame I also coloured, but I made it stronger, and that's what I've cut my holly leaf out of and my sentiment. And all you do is put your die in on the piece, and just so that you know where all the bits go. And I glued that to the card. That's flat onto the card. The back, the biggest matting layer is lifted, and the frame's lifted, but the rest is all flat. And then I just used this holly leaf, it's another Works one, and a Holly Jolly Christmas. So that gives you another idea how to use it, just using your waist. Okay, so have fun with it and happy crafting.